Welcome to the Now, I'm Ashley Jenkins.
And I'm Gray Haddock.
Marvel is currently throwing all of its characters together in a big ol' superhero slap fight, so naturally we're primed for some major comic book shakeups, including a brand new Iron Man who may prove a little bit controversial.
What? Marvel's starting to cash in on another publicity stunt? They've never done that before.
Not even recently.
No.
Alright, so just to give you guys a heads up, since we are talking about new Iron Mans and that, there's gonna be some spoilers here. Alright, ready? According to Marvel, our new Iron Man is a little bit younger, a little bit smarter, and looks at things a little bit differently than Tony Stark. She's also a 15-year-old black girl.
Well, that took a left turn there. In a move that sure does stir up plenty of commentary, given the response to some of the other recent changes to the comic book universe, Marvel unveiled today that 15-year-old Riri Williams will be taking up the Iron Man mantle by the time Civil War II's story wraps.
They're still working on that whole Iron Man name since she's, a girl. Iron Girl. They'll figure that part out later.
Riri was first introduced in Invincible Iron Man #9 as an MIT science wunderkind who managed to reverse engineer Tony Stark's Iron Man suit in her own dorm room.
Okay, so she is smarter. Got it.
Yeah, well, that's gonna help. So this starts a process in which Stark will seek her out, paving the way for her to eventually become Iron Man, which is starting to sound like how he found Peter Parker.
That's true, like in the MCU.
Yeah, but that's fine.
That's fine. Given how fans have responded to a number of other changes over the years when it comes to gender, ethnicity, or in Captain America's case, Hydra allegiance.
Little things like that.
Before they walked it back one issue later. There's, of course, a conversation going on about whether or not fans will be open to this kind of change.
But according to Marvel lead writer Brian Michael Bendis, the company's not all that concerned about it given the publisher's track record.
In an interview with Time magazine about the updated Iron Man, Bendis said, "There are fans who say, show us the new stuff, and then there are fans who say, don't do anything different from when I was a kid." So when you're introducing new characters, you're always gonna have people getting paranoid about us ruining their childhood.
Yeah, and on top of that, it kind of just helps if you maybe let the story unfold for a little while. Maybe don't freak out the very issue things happen.
Just like wait and see.
Maybe they're going somewhere with it. I don't know. Anyways, later in the interview, he goes on to say, "I think what's most important is that the character is created in an organic setting. We never had a meeting saying we need to create this character."
There are obviously gonna be some people who don't like this for various reasons, and we acknowledge it's kind of a complicated issue.
But at the end of the day, for a lot of people, swapping race and gender doesn't matter as much as messing with a beloved character in general. Because we're talking about people's childhood heroes, any big changes are going to be met with some resistance.
Case in point, would Captain America, whose recent Hydra swap have elicited all kinds of fan fury, or furor.
Oh, no.
Yes, and the change had nothing to do with gender or ethnicity. Rather, fans were upset that Cap betrayed the foundations of his character. And for a lot of people, that's just about the biggest sin you can commit with comic books.
So basically, fans will get their pennies twisted in a bunch over just about anything. They had similarly huge reactions to Jane Foster's ascendance to Thor when she became the Thunder Goddess last year.
But who knows, maybe fans are kind of used to all the shifting around of their comic book characters by this point. There's been a lot of it.
Yeah, a new Iron Man certainly means some interesting new developments for our favorite billionaire playboy philanthropist, Tony Stark. So this prompts some speculation about whether or not he's going to survive through the end of Civil War II.
At the moment, his best friend is dead, his company is totally falling apart, and his biological parents aren't who he thought they were, and now, apparently he's not even gonna be Iron Man at the end of it. It's basically, screw you, Tony Stark, the series.
Considering the cover for issue 3 of Civil War II seems to show Hulk ripping Iron Man in half, so that sounds about right.
Rude. For Bendis and Marvel's part, they say nobody should get too far ahead of themselves with speculation just yet. I wonder where that came from. That's nothing new.
The writer stated, "More people are going to be upset that they think they know the ending to Civil War II now than anything we've just talked about. But I can tell you, just because you're hearing what we're saying doesn't mean you know how Civil War II ends. We're not telling you the end at all."
For anyone currently not in the mix on Civil War II, a lot's gone down in just a couple of issues, as well as the Road to Civil War, which spanned a number of series crossovers.
While the first Civil War event for Marvel was a breakdown of freedom and registration, this superhero fightgasm is more about determinism versus free will, with Iron Man and Captain Marvel leading the opposite factions.
Yeah, Iron Man's team includes Captain America, Sam Wilson, Thor, Jane Foster, Black Panther, Star-Lord, Luke Cage, Hercules, Miss America, and her crown, Daredevil, Black Widow, Hulk, Amadeus Cho, not Bruce Banner, and Deadpool.
Captain Marvel's team includes Captain America, Steve Rogers, I love that we actually have to spell out.
We have to, like, which
it's not
versions
this
of
Captain
which of
America.
these characters, yes.
War Machine, Spider-Man, Vision, Medusa, Blue Marvel, Winter Soldier, Spectrum, She-Hulk, Hawkeye, and Ant-Man, the Scott Lang version.
Most of the action centers around Ulysses, an Inhuman who can see visions of the future. So the big question now is whether or not heroes should stop crimes before they even happen.
Ooh, Minority Report. Cool.
Right?
Lines are drawn, War Machine gets killed, Thanos somehow gets involved, and mortally wounds She-Hulk. Spoiler. It's general comic book madness at this point.
This whole thing has been spoilers. That's all we're talking about. Regardless of any one person's opinion on changing up Iron Man, you do have to hand it to Marvel. They kind of know how to create events that stir up publicity and get people reading. It's what happens every time one of these major character changes occurs, and usually things end up back to normal in the end.
But it's not always a publicity stunt. Sometimes the changes stick. In many ways, Marvel's been gearing up for this since the early 2000s, slowly diversifying its pool of characters.
Yeah, we saw the same thing happen with Miles Morales as Spider-Man, Kamala Khan as Ms. Marvel, Sam Wilson as Captain America. I mean, we even got Spider-Gwen and Gwenpool in some of the universes, so we can do pretty much anything.
And that's one way that Marvel's been able to go a little more diverse without ruining childhood characters. Peter Parker and Miles Morales originated in separate universes, even though they're now both in 616, but now they can still have their own adventures, and Tony Stark will likely be the same way.
At least until they kill him, bring him back, make him go Hydra. You know how Marvel rolls. We
Yeah.
got all kinds of options.
So, what do you guys think of Marvel's sudden swap of Tony Stark? Let us know in the comments.
And for all your future comic book shakeups, like this video and subscribe to The Know.
Anyways, later in the interview, he goes on to say, I think that's what's most... Anyways, And that's one way that Marvel's been able to go a little more diverse without ruining childhood characters. Peter and Parker...
Peter and Parker.